All right, everybody. I'm going to run you through kind of the layout of how I build all of my patches I've got up. I'm going to use this one to show you a dual amp patch. It's an orange, AD30 and a Matchbox DC30, the EF86 preamp model. But it's going to kind of give you a little bit of a rundown so you can kind of hear it and also see how it's designed. And check them out. So basically, each one's going to come with 8 scenes. I already set them up, I call it low, medium, high, lead, kind of just the basic tone using the channels of the amp. So the clean, I like to push it right at the edge of breakup because you can roll the volume back just a little bit or change to your neck pickup. You get a real pretty sound. Push it real hard by hitting on the amp. And then the next channel, of course, is going to be medium, so that adds some grit using the second channel of the amp block. And then, the third scene is going to be more of a high. It's going to be really pushed, so if you're really kind of rocking something, or even, and then the lead's going to go into the fourth. I add a boost in there and all that. Now, all of them I do have like a drive. I've got 4 different drives kind of in here, just depending on what you may want to do. So you can play around with that on the other channels if you want. But I designed them to just run the amps. So if you're running like an older model Axe-Fx that may not have as much input power, which I don't really max them out either. It gets up there, but you could always take the drive block off if it's pushing things too much. But with the lead channel, the next channel I put in all of them, of course, it's going to be a wash to lead. That just adds a lot of reverb in there. Same amp sounds, but you're going to get more of that washiness in there. So if you've got single note leads, or if you want something just really pushed out there. Ambient cleans, just really kind of gets just something kind of like that. The next scene, now this one I just put the tremolo effect on there, right? But you see there's a lot of different effects. So this is just a clean channel with that tremolo effect on. Now obviously, you can change this how you want, so you can set it up to switch the amp channels if you want something different. If you want flange effect in there, I've got a couple of different, each different ones, so you can play around with whatever effect you like on whatever scene. There's at least 2 on everything but the rotary. The drive, like I said, there's different drives in here, but if you're just on a clean channel, you just want to add a different kind of grit than what's built into those, you can. Phaser. A little bit of the pitch. I just designed that. I like using it sometimes in the lead of something, just because you can kind of get obviously, it's up to you how you want to do that. The wah, I have 2 expression pedals, so I have the wah preformed, to one of those. And then the volume is also going to be preset up to a different expression pedal. So you can kind of change that if you only have one, take one of them off or whatever. But I like that a lot because if you're running one of the scenes is the swells. I call it shiny swells because I do add a golden shimmer in there. And if you don't want that shimmeriness in there, then you can always just change that to just the standard Plex Verb on channel B, and save that. And you still get a real good washiness to your swells. So just kind of play with that however you want. But yeah, everything's got a couple of different effects built into each one. Like I said, except the rotary, and that's just because I don't really mess with that effect a whole lot. I don't know. You can play with that one if you like. It's not one I use a lot, but I thought I'd throw it in there since I had the CPU for it. But yeah, if you really want like a lot more reverb than what kind of just comes on it, you can change to channel B, and it just gives it even more. It's not too much. That washiness is in this one, which comes in when you do like ambient leads and stuff like that. So if you really want it to just have a lot more, you could change that reverb there and just have that be the one that's on when you're playing with these. So a lot of different options in this to do. All of my stereos, they're going to come with a couple of different options you can do for the cabs and stuff like that. Sometimes I like to even use the ones that are built in, but all of these are factory. None of them are the ones aftermarket. So any channel that you're kind of playing with, it's going to start off on the one I kind of like the best, and then you could pick. So if you like, a different, little bit different tone there, slightly different one there, and then so I know that's probably rooming the mic kind of hard to hear, but there is a different nuance in each of these, depending on whichever one you want. So like I said, each one's going to come set up the way I kind of like it the best. You got all those options to play with. Now for single coils, single coil is easy. All you want to do is just save the patch, turn the compressor on, and change this parametric EQ I got set up to channel B. And then if you got a guitar with single coil, you don't lose the flavor of the single coils. I hit the wrong one. So you still get your single coil tone, but it doesn't lose the volume or any kind of the EQ type stuff that you want in there. But yeah, so that's kind of how that's set up. My single amp ones, obviously, everything's kind of the same on all of that other stuff. Still do the same thing to change from single coils or not. But in the cabs, sometimes I'll put like mono in the first two channels, just so you can have a little bit of a different flavor. And then I'll do stereos for some of you guys. If you have the option to run stereo out, you can do that. Sometimes the stereo block is different factory cabs, or maybe I'll do the Dynacab option or something. But anyway, a lot of options to choose from. Each one also, I don't have it here, but I have what I call a recorded version or a live version. So I cut a lot more of the lows, taper them off and out of the recording version, just so you don't have so much low end if you're trying to record. Tends to make it clean up a little bit better for a record. And then live, of course, you kind of want that lowness because of the whole way proximity effects work, or Fletcher-Munson curve. So, in your headphones, it's going to sound pretty good. Recording is going to sound pretty good. Cut off some of that low in the recorded version. So 2 patches in each one, just to clean it up a little bit better. But live, you kind of want to use the one that says live. That way, when it's boosted out there and pushed through the PA, it actually sounds good for you. So check them out. I'll put the link to this one right here, the stereo patch, direct in this video, as well as just the overall link. It's on Gumroad. I don't really have the fanciest of equipment as far as recording goes, other than my Axe Effects. But yeah, check them out, have fun. There is a free one in there. I put that one on the link as well. So you can just kind of download the free box, the AC30 style, see what you think, and then look at some of the others. Thanks, guys.